We're here in Phillipsburg. We're with attorney Stephen Dunbar. And first of all, thank you, Stephen, for taking a minute to be with us here and talk to us. Let's start out by talking a little about who you are and your history here, because you've been around this area for quite some time and what you do.
Thanks, Art. Yeah, I'm a native of the area. I grew up in Harmony Township, went to Harmony Township Elementary School, then went to Belvedere High School, stayed in the neighborhood, went to Lafayette College. Some of your viewers may recall that I played football for Lafayette. Was very pleased to be part of that whole program. And after that, I went off to Ohio and went to the University of Dayton. I got my degree in law. And I've been practicing law in Phillipsburg for the last 15 years. I've been down here on South Main Street. Started out with a firm of DeMassey and DeMassey, and then struck out on my own, and I've been on my own down here for about 15 years.
Well, let's talk about where you're located, because the minute I walked in, I said, well, these buildings are just beautiful, and this is so charming. Just tell us exactly where you're located.
We're at 104 South Main Street, the heart of Lawyers Row, basically across the street from the old PNC Bank building. Mr. Kersey, who is my landlord, has been spending a great deal of effort renovating these properties, making sure that they're on the National Historical Register, and basically promoting the South Main Street Business District. So we're right about 11 buildings up from the Free Bridge in Phillipsburg.
Well, let's talk about some of the services that you offer, because you do offer very many, and let's roll through them a little bit. I know you deal somewhat in real estate as well, correct?
That's correct. We pride ourselves on being a small, family-oriented business. My secretary, Debbie, has been with me for 15 years. My wife, Darlene, is also working for me. She's been with me for about 12 years. And we do a little bit of everything here. It's a solo general practice of law. We do a lot of real estate. Even though the real estate market is kind of dead right now because of things that are happening in the economy, people are still buying and selling houses. Some people who are getting in financial distress are doing what we call a short sale, where you have to convince your bank that you're going to pay them a little bit less than what they're owed on the mortgage. So that's kind of a specialty that we're working on these days, and it's a little difficult. We're expecting that the real estate market is going to resume, and if it does, we do mortgages, we do refinancing, we do buying and selling. So pretty much any of your real estate needs, we can work with you.
And I know also you have criminal defense matters you work with?
Yes, I've been doing criminal law for quite some time. In my early career, I actually started out as a Warren County probation officer. Then I took off and went to law school. For a number of years, I worked as a pool attorney for the Warren County Public Defender's Office. I currently actually serve as the public defender for Mansfield Township, so if you get a speeding ticket or you get a DUI ticket or something like that, you might be talking to me about defending your case. So we go everywhere. I represent quite a few truck drivers. I have a service that represents truck drivers in various infractions that they have across the state, so I go many places to do municipal court and driving infractions.
Well, you mentioned DUI. If someone's listening to this and they've had some issues there and they don't get you appointed or whatever, can they still call for that?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, there have been some recent developments. The state of New Jersey has just adopted a new scientific testing device for people who have a DUI charge. And last year, the Supreme Court of the state of New Jersey handed down a case called State versus Chun, which dramatically revised what you need to know about defending a DUI case. There's a lot more mathematical proofs that go into it. So it is worthwhile to have an attorney just to make sure that, in fact, the machine is operating properly.
And also you deal with family law?
We do a lot of family law. From very early on, a lot of divorce work. We handle custody, we handle distribution of property, support issues. We do simple divorces, simple adoptions. These days, unfortunately, there's a lot of people who have non-standard families. Sometimes that leads into a domestic violence circumstance where one person feels that they've been threatened or abused in some manner. And it's always a good idea to have counsel with you if you're going to go into court and face that kind of thing, because there can be criminal-type sanctions. You could lose possession of your house. You could be restrained from going certain places. You may end up paying support or paying fines as a result of a domestic violence case. So a little bit of everything involved there.
Now, and as far as all general type of practice that you have here, but specifically one other area, bankruptcy, you still help a lot of people with that?
Yes, we're doing a lot of bankruptcy these days. Unfortunately, with the economy and the straits that it's in, a lot of homeowners are finding out that their mortgage rates are readjusting, that their credit cards have had a interest rate increase, which they never planned on. And the family budget is getting squeezed. It's very hard. So we're doing a lot of what are called Chapter 7 personal liquidation bankruptcies. And this is essentially where you go to a federal court and you explain that based on what your current income is, what your debts are, you can't afford to pay your debts. And there's some very complicated formulas. And we figure out who are your creditors, who should be paid, whether they're going to be paid, whether your debts are going to be wiped out. With the Chapter 13, you're going to get into a repayment plan. A lot of times what happens is people can't quite pay their debts today, but if they were to get some sort of relief from the court, they can get their creditors off of their back, they can sit down and they can set up a payment plan, and they can work out their problems over a period of time. So very frequently a Chapter 13 bankruptcy is going to be a good option for people who are getting into mortgage distress. We're getting a lot of people these days are getting threatening letters from their mortgage company, and they're interested in getting advice from a HUD agent on how to refinance or restructure their loans. We help people with that as well. So there's a lot of interesting things going on in bankruptcy these days.
So in wrapping it up, Stephen, you know, a person shouldn't be hesitant or fearful to talk about these issues. And the idea is they should make the call, come in and sit down and find out what the next step might be.
Absolutely. Many of your lawyers in the Phillipsburg area are very friendly. I particularly will give a first appointment for free. I spend an hour of my time with people. I go over their problems. Many times people come in and I sit down, and it's just a nice thing to know that somebody listened to you, they know what your problem is, and they've given you a little advice. Many people walk away and they never come back to see me, and that's fine. Some people come back and they say, hey, I talked to you 3 years ago. You helped me out with a problem, and now I do need your services, and I'm back to talk to you because you were so helpful then. So yeah, we'll answer questions.